Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And welcome, everybody. This is Dan French here on a Saturday. It's a French Workbench podcast. We have a full studio in today. We got a lot of good information. And we're going to do a lot of talking today about pools, a lot about what's going on in real estate, financing, cryptocurrency. I mean, crypto.
Whoa.
That's just
Everyone's
Brett's
been...
eyes. You guys, this is this is your source for the latest information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas through on-job experience and education. And we are your source for the latest information. I'm your host, Dan French, streaming from Las Vegas. And in studio, I want to go around the room. We have our usual co-hosts, I'm going to say now, because we got people that are coming on quite a bit. And my first co-host here, I'm going to tell him is Rick Rains. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm up. I'm ready. Let's get it started.
That's right, man. So what have you been up to? Anything happened new this week?
Oh, same old, pretty much. To be honest with you, except that today is 9/11 and it's my anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Really? Wow.
All right.
How many years?
Tough day.
Don't say 20.
45.
45.
You guys planning anything?
Actually, yeah, we got a dinner thing going on.
Good for
Cool.
you, man. Good for
Congrats. That's why he's still married for 45 years.
Smart man. Smart man.
He knows who runs the house, man.
Right. We also have Mr. Energy himself, Brett Jenny from Simply Vegas. Come on down. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Thank you.
How's life, man? What you doing?
Life is going all right, man.
You came in all spruced up. What are you doing today, buddy?
Like Rick, up early, man. He got up earlier than me, but I was up about 4:30. Did a little bit of work. Went for a run. Went to the gym. Did some work.
Did
came
your
here.
deal.
Yep. And now I'm dressed up because I got to do some more work after.
So
I got actually real estate today.
Do you ever have time where you don't work?
I'm kind of always working. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm always working, but I mean, you're kind of always.
You're always
in the
man.
mix.
Yeah, it's
You're committed.
there's always something I can be doing. Let's put it that way.
Right,
You know,
right.
to better myself. So
Gotcha. So we have our guest here. He's the guy we're really putting the show about. His name is Mr. Ace Bedich, and he's from Ace Pools, right?
Green Oasis pools.
Green Oasis Pools,
And
excuse me.
landscapes, yes.
So what's going on, man?
Also a Hall of Fame quarterback.
What do you mean?
He looks just like Drew Brees.
He does look
You
like
just
Drew
need a little
Brees.
thing right here under your eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
what's going on?
I retired and got in the pool industry.
Yeah, it's always been your dream. So like, quit playing football.
In the real
I hear
The
you,
real
man.
money.
I hear you. The real fun in life.
Right.
Pools.
So what's going on,
Water.
Ace? What have you been up to,
Sorry.
man? How's life with you? I mean,
It's been crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some details
The
for
housing
you.
market and everything's been crazy, and it's continuing. So
well,
it's
we
it's a good
appreciate
thing.
you coming on, man. We're
Absolutely.
gonna get into
Thanks
some
for having me, Dan.
great information with Ace. Also, we got Mr. Joe Dragons back. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Dan, how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm
Great.
just excited today. We got so many things
I
to
know.
talk about. Like
know.
I'm shaking right now. So
I know what I do to you, Dan. I understand.
you being back, Joe, I tell you, man, it made my life. I was like, Joe's coming, and Joe, you're a co-host, man. You've been on this show a long time. Brett's been here. You guys are all basically now my, host, co-host,
Bob,
if you want to
man.
call it.
We're,
yeah.
we're
boys.
family,
We're
man.
family,
We're
man.
family,
Yeah.
man. Barbecue and beer drinking, baseball.
Yeah.
You know what? You got a
Swimming?
hat
Swimming?
that looks like mine.
Swimming.
Swimming.
Sorry.
Swimming.
Dressing the
Don't leave
same,
that
dude.
out.
We got the man throwing the pool parties over here.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
but
let's
no, we went to.
Go ahead, man.
I thought you asked what I did.
Yeah, I did.
Or did I dream that?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you did. I interrupted.
I know what you were going to say before. No, I went to the new little date night last night with my wife at, what's that, Resort World? You guys been there yet?
No, how's that?
No.
Brand new, high-rise casino.
How was
it
it?
Very clean. We got blackjack tables, you got bars, and you got restaurants.
Where'd you guys eat?
Oh, it was in I forget the name of it. It was like an Italian place.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
Italian.
Did you see a lot of water features there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
They have-
exactly fountains. And,
Yeah, I mean
and,
they have I think over like 45 bodies of
It's
water.
actually
there.
like they keep making these places. So we talk about real estate, right? Well, whoever has all this money seems to think we're not going
crazy.
anywhere.
Yeah,
because
true story.
They were wrong though once, and that was what's scary. Because that other
Yeah.
what's that blue building that's been up there for like 20 years? You know what I'm talking
Fountain Blue.
Yeah, it's been how long has that been under construction?
Yeah, but
So
they've
you-
gone through a couple of actual lawsuits.
Right.
You want to know?
And that's why it hasn't been going. And also, too, like the cost, it got to a point where the cost was just not It's not there for them. Like, so they had new investors come in. I think they just got it. Somebody just bought out. Another investor just bought out the previous
Bought it
investor.
again?
Yeah, and there was some legal stuff going on that they didn't allow them to continue to build on it. I don't know exactly the details behind it.
So you know who the real winner of that whole situation is? Carl Icahn.
Why?
You know who Carl Icahn is? So he's like a huge, super wealthy hedge fund, whatever investor, billionaire. So when the market crashed, Fontainebleau, it was supposed to be like a $3.1 billion project, and they had already had like 2.6 billion invested in it.
Wow.
Well, at the time when they basically went bankrupt, not too many people can just pull out a checkbook on the spot and write out $100 million, $150 million.
Sure.
Well, Carl Icahn can. And that's what he did, is he paid like 110 million for something that was like 2.6 billion.
Right.
And so he just held on to it for 3 or 4 years and then flipped it for like 800 million, 900 million.
Buy low, sell high.
There you go.
Not too many people have the hundreds of millions to just hold on to it though.
And that's why you always have to do the reverse. What everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
it's
but I
hard
mean,
though.
and so now it's flipped hands a couple times since then, but that guy...
Whoa, look at that
Holy
shine.
Dan! Listen, do we need to have a discussion like a college professor? Now, while I'm speaking, please keep all
Phones on silence.
all cell phones on silence.
That was nice. It was like something from the heavens.
Yeah.
Right?
So anyways, but yeah, I mean, there's some money down there, man, and I think it was, speaking of real estate and the power of location. What is it? An acre. Or this was 2 or 3 years ago, an acre of land on the strip for sale was going for like 15 or 16 million
Reasonable.
per acre.
Yeah.
But you go half a mile away and an acre's worth 20,000.
Well, you're sure not going to put
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying,
high-rise there.
Yeah,
But-
power of location.
But I would like to see
know?
the gap bridge between like downtown and the strip. So it's kind of
It'd be nice.
Because
They've been trying that for years.
There's like
though.
that bad
they're trying
section.
and trying.
Yeah.
Well, they are trying to like redo it, but it's still there. That bad section.
I know,
There's,
that's
like,
what
a
I'm
few
saying.
blocks
They've been
between.
trying to do that because Zappos came in downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, and they
have the
tried.
art district down there
Yeah.
now. So I think it's
definitely-
getting better.
Yeah, they
But
did.
you need to
better than it
fight
was.
a lot more
You
than
need to
what
get rid
it
of
was,
those
that's for
neighborhoods,
sure.
kind of like right in the middle. All of a sudden, it's like this is totally unsafe. Like, you know,
Yeah, don't go outside the
couple-
4 block.
I'm not making any
4 block
comments on that.
radius.
But yeah, so that was my.
Hey, did you guys hear also too that they're going to have a mask mandate where there's going to be you're going to start getting maybe a fine if you're not wearing your mask when you're traveling on airplanes? Did you hear about that? It's like $500,000, I think, or $500,000.
500.
Wow! Why don't you just ban them for life? Guess what shot they are better at doing? Banning life or getting someone to pay $500,000.
Or you're in jail.
Saying, realistically, you have better odds of it. Just saying.
No, but no, it's not $500,000.
It's like, damn.
How do I get on the other
basically
side of that?
sign over your house. No,
So wear a mask. So I mean, listen, just wear your mask. I mean,
No,
whether you
no, but
agree,
let's go
disagree.
back. So really what
Yeah.
it is $500 to $1,000. And so that's like first and second offense. And then it goes, yeah, but it's, you know, you've
Well,
seen all these videos that
Here-
come out.
So
that-
here's the thing: who's that subject to? Because I've had people who have flown, and let's say that the flight attendants didn't like the person they're representing who they had on their hat, and so they literally had it covering them, and they're like, "You need to." And the guy
my
was
hat?
like, "Dude, I have it covered." Like, so if it's subject to
I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean on the hat?
Trumper,
Oh, I got you.
make America great again.
Political.
They were very anti. The flight attendant was very anti.
Well,
And,
look,
and
so
I'm not
this
saying
is-
either
this
way,
is just
but
in Las Vegas. And I think,
you
that
know.
gets back to the Raiders, right?
yeah, it goes back.
yeah.
Sisolak
Finally
and
just
Governor
said,
Sisolak.
don't even
they
worry
just
about the
passed that.
masks if you
Right.
don't wear them and be in our stadium, and that's that, which is
But-
tough too.
By the way, because this, I don't know. You guys were all here last year. I think if it was alive. If you remember, we kind of seemed kind of loose. We were the first ones to like open back up, right? And you
Yeah.
went over to California. They were the commies. Like, oh, we'll gun you down if you don't have the mask. Being exaggerated.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Right.
San Diego last week, I'm down there and nobody has a mask. There's no mandate. I mean, obviously we know this, but nobody has a mask on. We went to the zoo. It's just like
San
literally
Diego
a
seems
zoo.
to be more.
And like, how did
I thought it was all of California.
Yeah, but it's California in general too,
Right.
even
Yeah.
more than like
Right.
the.
Northern California, they never wore masks.
Yeah,
Because my daughter lives there.
So
And I'm watching Giants games, a huge Giants fan.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you guys were really upset about this, and now like it's
And
that's
well,
nothing.
now we
that's
like
kind of the
switched
thing,
role.
which is it's it's worn its course. You know, it's the same thing. Like I go to Lifetime Fitness in Summerlin.
Yeah, they don't require it either, right?
No, they do. But here's what everyone does: you walk in with the mask on, and then as soon as you go up and lift, you go up to work out. Nobody's
has it on.
And you see staff walking by with the mask on, because they have to. But you see nobody, and they don't say anything to anybody.
It's the same at LVAC.
Last year
You
at
just
this
gotta wear
time,
it going
which is
in.
Yeah,
why
last
the
year
Raiders decided to just
last year at this
forego
time
the
you had
masks,
to,
right?
You had to.
Raiders
They
did
would
it
go
too?
around.
Well, the Raiders just said no more masks. You have to be
and
vaccinated
Sisolak
to
said
get in.
okay.
So
Yeah.
right.
Why did he was just like?
Well, because I mean, if you went to the
well,
preseason game, I mean, nobody had masks on.
yeah.
So you can't really-
Are any of you going to tomorrow's meet and greet at the Allegiant?
No,
So it's
what's that?
anti-vax, anti-mask, stop.
Really?
Oh.
They had one last week that I went to.
It's like
It
a
was,
convention.
yeah, actually.
I have no views either way.
Yeah, yeah.
I just sell real estate.
And it doesn't matter whether it
all I
has
do.
nothing to do with whether or not you believe it or not believe it.
Sure.
It has to do with the government imposing this
Well,
on you. That's what it's about.
Here, since we're down this road, and if you disagree, let me have it. But here's when Sisolak, right, first started putting on these orders, right, in March of 2020. Stay at home, all this stuff.
Correct.
Because I'm an attorney, whatever. I'm like, this interests me. I want to grab the order, read the order, looked at I'm like, where is this power coming from? Because I was curious, right? Not like really making a statement. Cites to a statute. It's an emergency statute. You read the statute. It has everything to do with controlling like the ebb and flow of traffic or evacuation for like disasters. And you can see it's really referring to like wildfires or earthquakes and those sorts of things. And by the way, there's only like a 3-week, 2 to 3 week like time when
Time period.
but when it expires.
Yeah.
Well, you wonder why. You go to the Nevada Constitution, that thing that no one realized we have, but we have a Constitution.
We have a Constitution.
and it says that the Assembly, which is our Congress, meets every 2 years, but the governor can call special assembly with 3-week notice, which matches up with the 3-week order, emergency order. So, what I'm saying is, Sisolak, ever since that happened, had the full ability to call the assembly and ask for like powers to do masks, powers to do lockdowns based on certain things. It's now been a year and a half later, and he hasn't done that once. The assembly hasn't talked about this once, and so that's my pet peeve. Whether you want to say like we have masks or not, I'm like, what? Like, are we live in a democracy or don't we? Because we make a big deal about democracy, and then as soon as kind of something happens, we just don't seem to give a shit.
That's kind of my thing is when people say, well, that's not right. I say, well, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because if something bigger than you wants to do its course, like
it's gonna be imposed.
what are you going to do?
Right.
Whether it's right or wrong, by the time you figure it out, the damage is already done.
And
So
you had a legal argument saying like those business lockdowns, that were totally invalid under Nevada law, which I think they were.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The court's
That's what I'm saying.
The court's not going to give it
Yep.
to me.
That's
They're
what I'm
just
saying.
not going to do it.
So yeah, I mean, technically
It's
you're right,
all
but
words
then
on a
there's
piece of
reality, which is
paper,
what
and
matters.
that's what we have now.
All right, let's get back into what
Sorry,
we
got a
actually.
little-
Good stuff.
That's all right. Man, we went real politic.
I know.
Politicky.
So let's go into this, guys. So first off, let's really introduce here Mr. Ace, and I want to talk with him a little bit on his situation. And let's look at his website. Here's his website right here. And guys, if you're out there and you're looking for somebody to maybe give you a option, or maybe to give you a quote or a bid, I guess you would call it, right?
Correct.
Then you would want to maybe give this guy a call. He's really good at what he does. I looked at the reviews.
Nice, man.
Nice
Thank you.
pools that he's done.
Thank you.
Nice custom job. So you're at Green Oasis Pools and Landscape.
That's correct.
So let's give us some insight about how you got into this, when you started in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. So I'm born and raised here. Grew up playing baseball my whole life. Played college career at UNLV.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
And couldn't hit the curveball. So
You still played D1 though, man. I mean, that's
was
not
fun.
an average athlete.
It was fun. And so couldn't hit the curveball, so the baseball career ended. And I loved being outside. I loved the maintenance of the field and those type of things. So I got into landscaping. Did landscaping for 7 years before I got on the pool side. And that was 20 years ago. 21 years ago now, actually. Okay. And so I got in the pools and landscaping and combined them both, which has been very good for me because a lot of people are looking for that one shop.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
where they're
Absolutely.
combining multiple different people that they have
Yeah.
to control and everything else. So it's been really good for me. I've been very, very
So
fortunate.
did you start out just landscaping and then added the pools, or one or the other?
Correct. So I started off in landscaping.
And
had
then you
my
realize
landscape
if I
company
combine both
for
these,
7 years,
it's
and
really
then
going to
got
be
into-
good
yeah,
business. Gotcha.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got into it, and so when you're looking at the side where pools are at today, right?
Correct.
People always want to say, well, is the cost going up? What do we see? Because there's a lot of questions that I get about people saying, well, pools they're only 35, 40,000
Right.
materials, right? I mean, you probably get that all the time, right?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what's crazy about it.
were.
Even, I mean,
Yeah.
even like in the 90s, they were, 35. And you're talking, 30 years ago, but
Yeah.
people still have that mindset
Yeah.
that they are
So
35
what-
to 40,000.
Why does pools cost go up? Like, why does it, like, obviously there's
Materials. So
and-
there's materials
yeah.
just like, I mean, it's
Right.
it's basically building a house in the ground.
Materials and demand.
mean-
like they can't even keep up right now. So
Right, it
guess
is.
what?
Because of pool demand.
It's
or
called
just-
capitalism.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, which is somewhat true also, but
Well, I
the
mean, you
materials.
don't jack people around,
Exactly.
but hey, man,
Right, because
if it's a good economy,
well,
everyone's making.
I'll say this: a lot of times I don't even like to tell people I'm in the pool and landscape industry because there is a lot of people out there that maybe aren't
Gotcha.
morally ethical on what they are doing,
Yeah.
and are driving that
No,
that bus a little more.
I know, man, because they all work for a regular company and then on the side.
Right? Yeah, there's a
They
lot
do
of that stuff
yeah,
going on also.
Yeah.
So what's
I got like 20 of them.
what's happening in actual building? Are you finding that you're having problems getting supplies the way the construction industry is?
Very much so. I mean, it's across the board. I mean, tile is very hard to come by right now, and nobody knows when it's coming and when it's not coming. I mean, our suppliers,
What about gunite and cement and all that?
those prices have gone up. Hasn't been a lack of cement, but the prices have definitely shot up. Steel's been an issue. Haven't been able to get steel. Plumbing now is being an issue with piping.
Jeez.
So
my
how long-
contractors.
What's going on
So
with
how
steel?
long is that delaying your build out?
Well, it hasn't yet, but every week it's like the plumber's telling me, hey, this might be the last week that we're plumbing pools because we aren't getting plumbing in, we aren't getting pipe in, we aren't
What's,
getting fittings
what's
in
causing
plastic.
that? Do you know?
It's the plastics.
I mean, I knew that the.
It's basically things that we're all outsourcing from America, if you ask me, that is coming from other countries that are just
Supply lines were shut down
Yeah.
or
Trucking.
dramatically reduced.
So you got steel
to
that's
pack
not,
it up at a certain pace again. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got steel, you got plumbing,
basically anything with materials.
you got equipment.
Yeah.
Equipment alone. A lot of it's not made in America, so it's not getting.
How are
over
you
there.
with finding people who want to work
Yeah,
for you? Are you finding
that's
like a
what-
lot of laborers, or it's something where it's
Labor's
it's
hard, so it's kind of a both sides of the
Gotcha.
deal. It's not the labor's not actually increasing the price of the pool any. It's more materials.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's just
as
the
far as
Are you
length-
actually
the length.
finding bodies?
The length.
are you finding bodies?
Right,
Yeah, is
right.
that
So
an
it
issue?
used to be a 3-month process.
Okay.
Is now a 5 or 6 month process
Huh.
because it's just
Yeah.
I've used the same contractors for the last 10 or 15 years, but unfortunately, I think they're the best in the business, and I don't want to deteriorate from using them
Yeah.
to get a job done faster.
No, I know what you mean.
But because they're the best, a lot of people want to use them.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
have the labor shortage, and so it's
Well,
My in-laws
Yeah.
just are putting in a pool, and they haven't finished it yet, and it's been an easy 6 months.
right.
And they just sit and wait and wait.
What's tough?
And they just keep,
What's really tough
getting
about
stories.
it is that when you're honest to somebody, they don't want to hear it's going to take you 6 months to build their pool.
so you
And
got.
if somebody
I
else-
understand.
and
It's
if
the
somebody
game.
else-
It's the
it-
game
it
you got to
is.
play.
It is. And if
Yeah.
somebody else is like, "Oh, I can do it in 4 months," I've lost jobs that way, and I say,
It's
okay,
like
I wish-
like your business. Nobody's going to be able to come in with a cheaper interest rate because that's not the way it's set up now with lending laws. But other agents, other lenders will spit. It's a very competitive business. So saying
Absolutely.
over the phone,
Absolutely.
they'll say some things that probably
sales-
aren't.
it's a
aren't-
sales
but
business.
just to
So-
get them in the door, right?
I think sales in general
I was gonna say it's a
undercut
sales
people.
business.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
anything in sales, you're undercutting.
I understand
somebody.
that, but he's saying, "Hey, man, I'm straight up from the get go, and this is the way it is." And it's people who want to come in and
Well, it's-
overpromise and
Right.
underdeliver.
Well,
That's
exactly
the
right.
problem.
It's setting the expectations for your clients. So at the end of the
Yep.
day, your clients are still happy with going with you,
Yeah.
and you haven't disappointed them.
Like
and
telling them
you
3
stay.
months, it's going to take you 5 or 6 months.
Right.
You know that. It's like listing agents who go in and say, "Oh, I'll get you 15 grand more for your house." They know damn well it's not going to appraise
Right.
out.
Exactly
They
right.
know damn well that's not going. But they're saying whatever they can, as in, "I'll talk to the seller later." And
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
like that's you can do that, man, but that's not how I do business.
No, that's not.
You know,
Yeah, it's not the proper way
Yeah.
to do business. And the other side of it is, what used to take a day to go down and pull permits is now taking 4 to 6 weeks.
Jeez.
Wow.
Because everything's done online. And so you used to be able to take your paperwork
Well, you'd
down.
think it'd be faster.
Well,
Wow.
you would think, but
You
people
would
are working
think
from
if they were.
people are working from home, so
And then
Yeah.
that's interesting
There you go.
Well, we're talking about Las
That's-
Vegas work ethic, so
because, and I
shouldn't say that.
sorry to well,
Yeah, you're fine. Okay.
kind of briefly switch topic, but you bring up a good point with the permits. Cause I want kind of your intake on how you do that because they're talking about construction permits, right, for pools or whatever.
Correct.
I noticed. I went to I guess I'm old fashioned because everybody just pays somebody to do this, but my I went and registered a car we got used from California in DMV. Walked down there, and if you didn't know, getting the DMV is a
Oh,
nightmare.
it's terrible.
Oh
You have to like
Really
book
tough right now.
an appointment 6 months. I got lucky because I walked in and they like their photo machine went down, so everybody was trying to get a driver's license, had to leave, and I went in and out. But
Nice. Good for
that,
you.
That was like extremely lucky or whatever.
Flashed his attorney badge.
Yeah.
I'm an attorney, move. I'm an attorney, move. I'll sue you.
Well, and then my wife says, "Oh, you can pay somebody like $40 to do that or something." And like,
yeah.
I didn't know. But hey, this works out. So,
Yeah, there's dudes that'll wait in line.
Here's my point, though, because I mean, it's obvious why the DMV got clogged up. They said, "Go home. We're not going to do anything." This happened
Yeah.
in government all over the place.
Yeah.
You have a housing market that gets more demand, right? And now, if you're having a problem with construction, right? You think zoning's got a problem? You think initial building permits have a problem?
Sure.
Right? I guarantee you they have a major problem. And we're talking about expanding, supply to get these housing prices down. We were talking about the entire
Well,
time.
that's kind of what we're saying before, which is
freaking government,
which
man.
is it's not so much the builders trying to purposely
raise costs.
raise costs.
Or
It's
prices.
that they can only get permits and
what
everything
we
that
were
they
saying.
need so fast.
So they sit on their ass. They sit on their ass for a year. Then they get off and say, "Oh,
Dude,
I'm going to give
you're
more
preaching to the
stimulus
choir
money.
with the
I'm going
builders,
to give
man."
more. I don't want stimulus money, dude. I want houses. I want like a way to get water. I want all
Yeah.
these things, and that's what we're hiring you to do, not to like print more
know.
money. Sorry, I'm done.
No, dude, I know, man.
Let's go back to pools.
Get back to pools.
Pools are so much
let's be,
easier.
Let's be, let's be happy and talk about pools again.
Let's talk about pools and paradise backyards.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so listen, you when you're going out there and you see these costs, and
Yeah.
people are like, "Well, how has it gradually increased on cost? Let's say over the last 2 years, like." What was a pool cost 2 years ago?
So, for instance, I literally 6 months ago gave somebody a proposal.
Okay.
And they didn't want to do anything at the time. Well, they just came back to me last week and said, "Hey, we want to get going with this." And I said, "Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to relook at your proposal and look at the numbers because costs have increased with
Sure.
concrete, steel, tile, everything." So it literally went up $4,000 in 6 months, and that's no more.
You're like my
marking
labor.
up.
My
No,
labor's
what-
the same.
What
My
percent
labor's
was
changed.
that?
My
The
percentage
materials.
is the same. Materials
Yeah,
have raised.
absolutely.
No, but 4,000 was what percent of the project?
About 10%, about 8%.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think people have a lot of questions with pools. I've always had this question because I've heard this. I don't know if it's a wives' tale. You'll probably say no matter what, but when I propose,
No, I'll be honest with you.
like when I was getting a house, they said if you get a pool, it's actually going to decrease the value of the house because
Well,
No.
that is false. Now you aren't
I
going to
thought
get.
it was a little.
It won't.
fishy.
Well, listen. Here's where it will affect you in real estate wise. You can have the exact same house right next door to each other, exact same community, exact same square feet, exact same floor plan, exact same upgrades.
I know where you're
blah,
going with
blah,
this,
blah,
Brett.
blah,
Brett, you're
right?
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you stick $60,000, $70,000, $75,000 to have a pool put in. When you go to sell that house,
Okay,
that
yeah.
one with the
That's-
pool will get you about 15 to 20 grand more in value.
Yes.
From
That-
an
that's-
appraiser.
That's
Right.
where you lose the money.
Right.
And
and that
and
makes
sell possibly a lot faster.
But listen, man, you're buying it for a lifestyle. You're
Oh,
buying it for
you're
your
buy-
family. I mean, that's where your
you're buying
money's-
it for the memories.
Yes.
You're exactly right.
And that
There you go.
obviously-
That's what you're paying for.
And
Exactly.
that obviously makes sense. But I have had realtors say like, no, like if you don't want to buy one with a pool in there because
If you're an investor, I would suggest maybe against it because then you've got the liability. But if
Correct.
it's for yourself,
it just always seemed like
don't listen to that realtor.
The way you can hedge your bet on that is instead of getting a gunite pool, go with a fiberglass pool. So you're going to cut your costs by about 30% if you go fiberglass.
Shockingly, fiberglass is almost the same price as a
Now
as
it
a
is.
gun-sided pool. Yeah.
Really?
And your look on your face was the look on my face when I probably
Because that
2 months
doesn't-
ago talked to a client
Hey,
that had been looking
be-
into a fiberglass
Because
pool.
that doesn't make sense because fiberglass pools come out of a mold and
I don't know.
And gunite pools are freaking custom made for the most part. So you're having to pay for that extra.
I don't know what the cost of that mold's gone up though. That would be my only And I don't know that side of the business because I only do gunite pools.
Oh,
So,
well, see,
but I was shocked to hear that because normally, yes,
We need to get
I have a
a mold
fiberglass
guy.
pool, so
yeah, we need to
let's
get a
go.
fiberglass guy in here.
I'm a
Just to
fiberglass.
cross-reference.
Yeah.
Dan, get on speed dialer.
Yeah, let me hold on. Let me get my toes to do that real quick. So Ace, let's go back to this. So
Yes.
the cost has obviously gone up quite a bit. He was bringing up a good point. Is it better to buy a pool though, where let's say you have a house that's already that already has the pool in it?
Correct.
Because then you're not going to lose much money off that. Is that right?
true, but at the same point in time, you're going to have renovations with that. So, you might, what's nice about getting into a pool that you're building yourself is it's what you want, right? It's clientele to yourself. Where you move into a property that already has a pool, you're kind of, okay, I like it, but then you got cosmetic sides of that.
Yeah.
Right. So you got the tile. Maybe you don't like the tile. Maybe you don't like the deck. So then you're getting into additional costs also, which isn't a bad thing because once again, you're building this for yourself and for your own memories that you're making with your family.
But assuming you like it all, then it's
absolutely.
a much better deal to buy one already in place.
Matter of fact, just last week, I was going to put a spool, which is a larger spa, smaller pool, so that you can still heat it up in a good amount of time or less amount of time. Yeah, called a spool.
Is it the ones where you swim in like you're
so
like
you
a
can
gerbil on a?
You can
like,
put
but
you
you
can
just-
put
right?
you can put jets in it, and swim against the current.
How hot can you get the spool?
Oh, you can get 102, 103, up to 104. Yeah.
Okay, 104.
But
It's got to be at least 104.
Yeah. Well, that's the max. That's the max is 104.
We're doing that right now.
Mr. Aquaman, you're all in. I gotta have
He's
it at least
all in.
102.
Wait,
You want your water to be 102, dude?
104
104.
for a hot tub. Yeah.
Oh, hot
good
tub, yeah.
hot tubs.
So I meant to
with-
swim. I'm
my
like, dude,
pool
what the
this week is at 104.
Yeah, but it's too hot.
I'm just saying that I don't need the hot tub, which
Yeah.
I still have, but the spa.
You got a big hot
Yeah.
tub then, right? Because your pool's a hot
Yeah,
tub.
right.
Yeah, my pool's a hot
Dan.
tub. I have two.
Yeah. Really cool off from that 110
But
degree weather.
getting back to that point, Dan,
Yeah.
is so they were going to spend $70,000 in a house that probably wouldn't have warranted putting a $70,000 pool into,
Right.
because they probably have only gotten maybe $10,000 out of that investment. Okay, but they knew that up front and were building it because that's what they wanted, right? To create the memories. So they called me last week and said, "Hey, unfortunately, we aren't going with the pool. We bought a new home, and it already has a pool." And I said, "Okay, that's great if you guys are happy." But they said, "We don't like, some of the things on it. Can you come out?"
Yeah.
So I'm meeting them, this coming up week to go over that with them and see what kind of cosmetics things they want to change.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think the demand for pools consistently keeps going up. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Well, and it has for one reason, if you ask me, is because people have been at home, right?
Yeah.
So,
When did you notice
I-
uptick in demand? Like what year? Last year?
well, I mean, every builder was really worried when the COVID hit. I mean, we all thought,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, we're going to be out of business.
Dude, I know,
one's gonna
man.
be,
So did-
no one's
yeah.
going to be working. How are they going to come up with $70,000 to build a pool?
Yeah.
Well, when your kids are in the house all day,
Dude, nobody thought
And-
came out of it what came out of it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, when your kids are in the house all day and you're going stir crazy, you have an infant, but if he was
I've
older
experienced
and
I've started to experience this
yes,
the first time.
so I mean, kids
You're
wanted
just, you're just getting started.
to get out of the
I'm
house.
starting to figure out.
Well, plus two in the summertime.
little
I got,
mini dragon over there. Right?
Yeah.
I got nieces and nephews, right? My mom, she's got a pool, and it's almost like the community pool for them because they come over.
Absolutely.
Somebody in the
Yeah.
family's got a pool.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
That's where it's worth the money. If you
Correct.
want a pool, get a pool put in, man.
Right,
Yeah.
you're
You know?
exactly right.
Because it's
The board-
memories, like you said too. It's not just about.
It's memories is what you're building.
Yeah, we have our grandkids over at least twice a week
Yeah.
because of the pool.
Yeah.
But,
It's
it's-
a pool.
and if
Yeah.
swimming, by the way, just if you didn't know, is the 5th most popular activity in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
fifth most popular, huh?
5th
Wow,
most popular activity.
that's crazy. So
What's first? Football?
Don't know. All I know is that you know this right here, 5th.
He knows what he knows.
The
and that's-
research right here.
That seems a little like who doesn't like swimming? Who's kind of.
Always like an attorney. Got to ask more questions. Don't you?
Yeah,
I don't really
Oh,
understand
my
the
God.
statement.
Just trust me.
Well, I'll tell you this also: the older you get, physically, it's the best thing to do for your body.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think as you get older, right, it's easier to
Absolutely.
exercise. It's easier to have a pool, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know, but I
much
mean,
easier.
it kind of helps
I mean,
with
you
the
ride,
joints.
you ride a bike or you
Yes,
swim, and
right.
swimming is the best exercise for your body.
Swimming in the deadlift.
And sumo wrestling.
Crush your vertebrae and then get in the pool and extend it back out.
And then MMA, right?
So let me ask you a couple questions. Somebody's asking you, okay, hey, I'm trying to find a pool person or a pool guy to start doing work. I'm sure you go through a lot of questions. So you're licensed, right?
Absolutely.
Like, okay, and you provide that or you prove that up front. A lot of times people ask that question, correct?
No, not really anymore, to be honest with you.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I would think they're going online, and anything online, I would hope
Yeah.
they'd be insured at that point in time. I'm sure you can still ask around and find some people that aren't. I'd stay away from that. I mean, that happened a lot in the '80s, and we had a lot of issues in Vegas with that.
What
We didn't have
about
a pool.
what about this? What about insurance? Like, do you guys have like?
We carry insurance?
you do?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
And on all of our subcontractors also.
Okay. If you were to say, like, when did you start again? You said you're
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Gotta listen,
how many,
Dan.
How many pools do you think you built?
Ask a lot of questions, don't do much listening.
I probably have built over 1,000 pools.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And what was when you built your first pool? What was the cost of that pool?
About 30, I would say 36 to 38,000.
So that 20 years ago is what people's thought process is.
And a
on-
lot's changed on that also with the options now that are on a pool.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there wasn't in-floor cleaning heads. So instead of having your suction vac,
Yeah, I was going to say, they
have a
probably
name-
invented
they
a
have
lot better technology,
right,
too.
they have a name
So
for
what's
it. It could be
what's the average
crawler.
price? That I mean, I know it depends on
You're going to be 80,000 for a pool and spa.
average. Okay.
What have you
Yeah.
Do any of the gunite pools, do they ever go and put in a salt system? Do you do
Oh yeah,
with that?
and that's one of those options that has also changed with time.
How much
So
more is the salt system?
You're about $2,000
Okay.
additional.
We put in a salt system on ours, and man, I took that sucker out like within a year and a half.
Well, that's once again
It's really-
informing the client that you're going to
it's
have.
hard.
There's maintenance to those.
Yes.
And within 3 years, it's probably going to go out on you. I use all Hayward.
Really?
I use all Hayward equipment, and Hayward has a 3-year warranty with their salt set, which is the only company that
And
does
not
have
longer
a 3-year.
for a reason. Because they know.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and I tell homeowners.
We can look good with 3 years. We're going to cost us some money out for
Right.
4.
So let me
Correct.
ask,
I do like the salt feeling.
it is
though.
nice. It's very nice.
let me ask you a question. If I wanted a salt system and I was going to have an automatic pool cover, do you recommend those two together?
There can be issues with that because the salt can break down some of the tracking issues. But
Let me tell you what happens. It eats through the frickin' top of your cover, just like
Just the salt does?
it
Yeah,
shouldn't-
the salt does.
not through the it's just
yeah,
the
it does.
plastic.
No, it's not. Those things aren't 100% plastic. They couldn't be. But yeah, the materials in there and salt, when the cover sits on top of those, after a while it starts to eat through. Believe me, it happened to me.
Maybe talk to the wrong pool. guy.
Really? I've never heard of that before. So I'm gonna have to look that up.
Look it up.
Yeah, I will.
So do you
I'll
do you
talk
have to
my-
have like
I'll talk to my installer.
maintenance done quite a bit on these pools, like up like you would call like a tune up or something if you want to say like
Well, you got
know.
to clean your filters. You got to clean your salt cell also if you have salt. So there is, twice a year you should be doing some maintenance to your pool. Now,
So,
on
Get the
on
pool
top,
mortgage tune-up.
on top of on top of the weekly maintenance, obviously with the water chemistry itself.
Yeah. So the as far as that, I was about to ask you the weekly maintenance. As far as
Yeah, I mean you got to put
is that difficult? That's something?
very few people can literally do something every week.
Yeah.
And you have to do it every week. If not, you're gonna have issues.
So do you
can
offer
have a
those types
swamp.
of services?
I do not. I don't.
But
Yeah,
you-
you
right.
can have a swamp.
You
No,
can
I
have
don't.
a
Do you
swamp.
recommend people that do that?
I
pool?
do. Yeah, I have.
And how
some-
much are they charging for that?
You're looking about 100 to 120 a month on an average pool.
120 a month. Okay,
But that doesn't include chemicals.
No,
That does include chemicals.
it does.
It does?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I
I'm gonna
heard
have to
those
talk
costs.
to my guy.
Chemicals have been an issue recently, though, so your
Yeah, 'cause
prices
they
have
Right.
jumped on that.
too.
Yeah,
I
well,
was
that
just
was a
gonna say.
chlorine thing blew up.
Chlorine, yeah,
Couple
exact-
of whatever.
So what do those costs usually go up? I mean, because a lot of people they want to keep it where you know what, even through this whole thing, is $20 or $30 increase a month. Is that? I mean, maybe if you have a route that you go and then each person's 20 or 30, it starts to add up, right? Where the increase is like $30 more a month.
Sure.
So are you seeing that a lot?
With gas prices,
No.
we'll raise that. Is that
no,
what you mean?
No, I mean prices like where your monthly maintenance on pools. You know how
Will
like
start rising? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because
Yes.
you have other costs that are increased also.
So to me, I was like, well, $30 isn't that much. I mean, but then you think, well, what if they got like 15, 20 people that they're doing that with? That starts to add up.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
sure.
So I think
Most of the time, though, maintenance is and I don't do any maintenance, but maintenance is a very cutthroat thing. So, I mean, if someone's offering 110, it's hard to offer 140 and get that client. So if they're raising rates, it's more so because of fuel prices, or like you said, with the issue with the chemicals.
So if you want to do it yourself, what does it entail? I have a little story with this. My best friend in college, and this is going back in the day, college, right? We his brother's like girlfriend's parents split up, and they had this hot tub. They didn't want anyhow. We got like 15 guys, picked it up, loaded it on a flatbed, and took it to his house, right?
Nice.
And it was a nice hot tub.
Definitely college.
Dude, I'm already painting the scene right now.
Hey, listen, you should have taken the water out first.
Yeah, we were thinking about that. We were thinking it was too nice of a hot tub for how old we were.
Very young and strong.
And
Hot tub.
Hey guys, take the water out.
I finally got the joke. It was out. It was still heavy, man.
Oh, they're heavy. Yeah, they're very
Anyhow,
heavy.
so we get we don't have money. We're college kids, and we drink beer or whatever in the hot tub. So we we go down to the store and get the chlorines or whatever, right? But I don't think we're doing this right at all.
Sure.
Well, the first sign is we flip it open.
But did you care?
There's a dead frog in there.
Yeah, that'll.
Yeah, so this doesn't look right.
Dead frog.
We just pour some more chlorine in, right?
right.
Pour some more
Or
chlorine and have
whatever the
another
heck
beer.
it was. Get in.
Pour more acid.
I think I did do skin damage.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
sure.
I am going to get skin
Oh yeah,
damage.
dude. I mean, when you just said poured more chlorine, right there, I was like, dude, that shit's getting burned.
At least it wasn't acid.
The point of that was, how difficult is it
At
to
least
do
the water was
properly?
clear.
So a
Because I've got nightmares about that. Like, I don't want to screw.
So a
like,
smaller body of water is much harder.
Yeah, but let me tell you, man, the chicks look great in there.
Yeah, I think they're dead now, but
I
you
think
know.
yeah. They all have skin cancer, but
Yeah,
I got a lawsuit. I'm a lawyer.
yeah.
That brings up another stat. 17% of people pee in the pool. So
I think that stat's low.
Rick, I love you.
Chlorine and drinking.
I think that stat's low.
Yeah, way low.
More like 50, 60%.
Just go, man.
Those numbers are off. It's 71%.
A pool full of people drinking beer, 100%.
Yeah.
Pour some more chlorine.
Those filtration systems down on the strip are no joke.
Wouldn't that be funny? Where
The one on there.
Oh my god, dude, I couldn't. That's the thing.
Hey, you know when it was the Hard Rock before?
Yes.
Right? You go into that, if you went into that pool, it was just nothing but, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude.
I mean, you don't know what was in there. I mean, the
Probably
water,
dead frogs.
You know how many
That'd be
STDs
nice.
are floating around in that water?
Oh my God,
Well, it's like remember that. I don't know if you ever went to it. I went to it once. That club on the Palms, but it shut down because they were spent or whatever.
dude. Ghost Bar?
No, what was it called? Chaos. It was open for like a year. Or 19 and it shut down. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I knew somebody that worked there and they gave us free tickets to this concert. And they had like this pool and this river kind of going away from the pool.
Okay.
And literally there's like 100 people in there.
Yeah.
And they're drinking and like.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, man. That's
That's why they need to shut the pools down at 10 o'clock and they don't open them until 10.
Yeah, I'll have people
Need
once in a while ask
filtration.
me, "Hey, man, we're going to
the bathrooms
we're
are
going to the
empty.
pool,
Yeah,
Red Rock. We're going to a
Well,
pool
I'm not
party."
standing in line. I
I
do
don't-
what I got to do.
Like I said, not 17, but maybe 71.
Exactly. That's
those-
why I don't go to those hotel pools.
Do those pools
man.
take longer to clean too, probably, right? I mean, to get all that stuff out?
Sure.
Well, they just have bigger filtration systems and
Yeah, they
different
should,
ways
they
of
should have a
filtrating
whole
them.
pumping station for that.
Oh, they're huge. They're huge rooms. Huge rooms.
Like literally, man.
Yeah,
Well, pee is sterile. That's what I've been told.
it is. It does actually does
That
nothing
doesn't
to
mean
the
I
water.
want your pee on me.
It does nothing to the water?
Yeah.
Really? Huh.
So
Well,
there
it's
you go.
warm, right? So
It will.
Wait a
Excuse
second.
me. It will
Wait,
warm.
wait, wait, wait a
It will
minute.
warm the water.
It's got to do something to the pH, doesn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It smells bad, but other than that, anyhow, the whole point of this
Does it
was
smell bad when you're drunk?
if you, yeah. But the whole point of this was if you have your pool, and I know knows the difference with a smaller hot tub, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
what's that entail to? Like,
So
what do you got to do?
It's a
What is
weekly
that
thing,
type
and
of-
basically just the chemistry of your water. And what that is making sure that you're putting chlorine and acid into the water to keep the pH at the levels it should be at, and the acid levels, and the chlorine levels where it should be at as well.
So you got to test it. You
You
got to
gotta-
like
you
pull
got-
out the pH. It's like kind of like a fish tank type of thing.
Exactly right. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I was terrible at that too.
The fish tanks are much. That's a totally different thing because you got fish in there and everything else.
Did,
so
did you show up in your room and the fish was at the top of the water? You're like, oh, I did it again.
I was like 11.
I thought I learned from the frog.
Son of a bitch.
It's like another story. I was like 11.
Here we are again.
11 years old. I had saved like $200.
Sure.
Decided I want a fish tank. Bought like this 10-gallon fish tank.
Yeah.
Threw some goldfish in there. Realized a year later I don't like these goldfish. They're disgusting. You have to constantly
dirty,
clean
yeah.
that thing. It's like this is the worst idea I've ever had in my life. And I was like, can you just please die, so that I can get rid of this fish tank? Because this has been a
The smaller the tank, the more you got to clean.
goldfish are
Same with the
resilient.
pool. Same with the pool.
Like we talked about, yes.
Same with the
With the
pool.
pool. Small bodies of water are tough.
So let's go
interesting.
back to the pool situation. So do they have like offer warranties and stuff for if you're
Yeah,
if
so
you're-
on all your pumps, your filters, and heaters all have 3-year warranties on them.
okay.
Yeah, and then decking has like a year, tile has a year, your lights have a year. So there's warranties for
Can you get an
everything.
extended warranty on it though?
There is not, no.
No. So it's like a year. If something happens, you're good, and after that, you're on your own.
Right.
What-
It's recommended to call, obviously, whoever built your pool because they're going to
Yeah.
know about your pool and hopefully they can help you out with that. But that's not obviously across the board either.
Well, like Brett says, you got those people that are undercutting you. Hopefully, it's not one of those people fly by the night.
Well,
right?
I think a lot of those.
Well, that goes a lot for like,
it
you
does.
pay for what you get.
Yeah,
For
there
it.
you go. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Especially in this town. I mean,
Yes.
you know, you do. You pay for what you get.
Right.
But the other thing you need to keep in mind is there isn't a whole heck of a lot to go wrong with operating a pool other than the pool motor. Everything else is stationary, water's flowing through the filter.
But the construction can be an issue. I mean,
Well,
if you don't do things properly on the construction side, then you have a nightmare.
let's just assume that was done
Sure,
correctly.
sure.
There isn't really a lot that can go wrong other than your
It's just
pool
the weekly
motor.
maintenance.
That's it. Yeah.
And like making sure your filters are clean.
What about foundation? I mean, what if your foundation? Because we always know that moves. Has that really ever been an issue with pools?
So you should obviously have your stuff engineered properly so that you have the correct steel and sizing of steel so that you don't have that issue.
So basically,
But pretty much across the board, every pool has a lifetime structural. So if something happens structurally to it, you're on the hook as a buyer.
Gotcha. So I'm buying a pool. Let's say it's a $100,000 pool because I'm not going to just go with bare minimum. At
you
80.
big baller, Dan. French workbench, big baller workbench
Hey.
right over there, huh?
You got to know it. So
Living the life.
One of the things I want to ask is if you're going through that process, right? Who communicates with the person buying the home? Like, is it usually there's like you probably like that's in the front
Correct.
going, okay, this is what we've done.
Yeah.
How does that work
The
with
whole,
somebody?
The whole process. So is either a sales guy or you have somebody else in your office that's constantly communicating with the homeowners during the whole process. Because like I said, it's like building a home in the ground.
So Ace is basically a general contractor when
Correct.
it comes to putting
Yeah.
in a pool.
Correct.
So he hires subs out to do all the little parts.
You know what I just came to thought is. You ever heard of the slogan "Ace is the place"?
The helpful hardware store.
Oh, Brett, you just ruined it.
Seriously, Brett, you couldn't have gotten better with
The
Helpful pool.
helpful pool.
Pool guy.
pool guy.
Pool guy.
So you said a project takes about what 6 months? Is that right?
Yeah, 6 months with this time frame right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there any delays right now because of the materials and stuff?
So luckily, like I said,
talked
I
about
use Hayward for my equipment. They do a lot of stuff in America, so I haven't had any problems with the equipment side of things. But I know there's other major.
Issues, yeah. Well,
Issues with-
and let me ask you this.
that?
So we talked about new construction before we came on the show. So I guess there was a time when you couldn't we've got new construction, they wouldn't do a pool, you had to do it separate. Now that's changing, is what I'm hearing. And is
Right.
that dependent on
And like you
the
said,
company that's
like
doing
you
the-
said, Brett, that's a lot with getting back to what
Yeah.
what builder is allowing that and not allowing that to
So
happen.
the builders kind of control that.
Builders
You
are
can't go-
controlling that.
you
Yeah,
can't go-
100% control that. So and even when they switch to their policy of you can't put a pool in until we close,
Yep.
they'll already have you hooked up with a pool contractor or two to do that. What happened was basically before the market crashed in 05, 06, all the builders had tied in with the pool contractors to put pools in the new homes that were being built.
Correct.
While the market crashes, everybody pulls out of their contract with the builder, and the builder's stuck with the pool contracts.
Okay.
So the
then
builder, so after the
they're
market
suing
crashed,
them. They're suing them.
yeah, so
Breach
then
the
and then you've got a
contract.
whole
I
mess. So then
can't,
after the market crashed, the builder said, "No way in hell are we ever going to attach being able to let
pool.
pools ahead of
That
time.
makes sense.
And then people forget, and the economy's
we're
going
back
great,
to-
and it's more convenient for them too. So now they're starting.
Well,
to
there
do
was
that.
lenders that offered a pool escrow holdback where you would put money up front, and then you would, as it was being built, it would disperse through the escrow company. So these did happen.
Which is still happening
Correct.
now as well. I mean, you can
Correct.
still obviously finance your pool, and there's a lot of different companies.
So
out,
how is that?
financial companies.
Is it most of it financed for most people, or are
So
they
that-
cash?
It's funny you say that, Brett. So literally last year, I would say 90% was cash.
Wow.
Yeah, and now
Really?
this
Yo,
year,
80 grand. Just here you go.
yeah, and now this
Throwing
year,
it down.
This year, I'd say it's
They're
probably
not hurting.
50-50 this year.
Huh?
You know what it is? It's all that stimulus money they stacked up.
Yeah, 80 grand though. They didn't give me that much. They didn't give me that stimulus check. I got 20 kids. I was kidding.
I mean, that's a lot of money. I think for like, I mean,
Yeah.
pretty. I mean,
That's what I mean.
it's
Like that's
Yeah.
if you're paying 80 grand, you got 80 grand cash. You're sticking into something
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
not
it-
investment.
Right. It actually was kind of interesting to see that unfold last year when you think
Either
everyone's
that
going to
or-
be really
either
hurting
that
and
or
they're paying cash.
there are some really desperate ass parents that said, you know what, I'm cracking the piggy bank
I think Brett
to get these damn kids out of the house
That could be the main thing.
because I got to
Brett.
keep my sanity, and that's worth 80 grand.
Right. True story.
So that right there
Moral
answers
lesson?
your question about whether or not the pool is worth it. At 80 grand, you're not going to go next door and buy a house for 80 grand more,
More.
just because it
Yeah.
has that pool. So
so I should have bought a
that's-
house with a pool.
Yeah.
I was
So-
looking at one.
Somebody wants to buy a
was
pool.
looking-
Is there any payment options? Like, can you say, well, you know, obviously it's not a monthly, is it? It's not like you say, well, give me monthly. Like I just said, pool escrow
but
holdback.
like I said, there's financial companies out there
Yeah.
that you can work through, and you're paying that monthly to them. Ours is broken down into payments, so as each phase of the construction gets finished, we get paid for that, and then move forward to the next.
His name's
phase.
Guido, and he's got really good terms.
In the '80s, that was happening. Pool companies were financing pools, and the state put an end to that.
So I just did mine through a HELOC, which the HELOCs
You can do that as well.
have gone away. Wells Fargo, by the way, has ended their HELOC as of,
Wells
I think,
Fargo's pulling away from
next,
anyone who's
next
yeah.
month. So, but you could get a second on your house.
Yeah, you
and
can do a
it that
second.
way.
There's multiple ways of doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say cash, I'm thinking like, I think I would have to have at least $500,000 liquid before I'm willing to throw 85.
That's what I'm saying is
Wait till
I'm
the
like,
little, wait till the
man,
little
that's-
gator gets older.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, I'm just like,
No,
what you could do with this.
You're absolutely right.
Like-
That's what I was trying to say, which is, man, to have 80 grand cash to just for a pool, like
but
people
I
aren't hurting.
You-
I
you-
mean,
you missed last week. If you would have just put $250 in an NFT, you'd have the money.
you'd have double that, dude.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about right now.
Yeah.
So you look at these the situations you're under. Is there any associations or anything that people like? Because I think a lot of people want to like, well, you know, you're licensed, right? And are you
Right.
part of anything that's like that upper tier? You know,
Yeah, NSAP.
Are you a part of
there's,
that?
Yeah, there's affiliations that you can get be a part of that help out quite a bit. You know, if you know, there's there's always new designs coming up that have new engineering and things of that magnitude that we're looking outside.
Here's-
to get
here's a
other
better
ideas
test.
and how
Here's
to
a better
Build
test.
them properly.
How long have you been doing this?
20 years.
I think that's the third time we asked that.
So that's what I'm trying.
Now we're listening.
That's
Do I need
what
to
I'm.
talk louder?
That's what I'm trying to say, which is
Money.
I'm getting to a point, gentlemen.
Oh, sorry.
Shut up. Just kidding.
Wait a second. How many years you been doing this?
The point being is
Brett
this.
getting to a point.
Gotcha! So, point being is this. He's been doing it for 2 decades, and you're not hurting for business. That alone serves as he's good at what he does, and he's very
Absolutely,
trusted at what he does,
absolutely.
or he wouldn't be in business for 20 years.
08
Excellent
through
point.
08 through
Especially
There you go.
what
Proof is in the
happened.
pudding.
Thank you.
Yes.
Especially what happened
Thank you.
in that
08,
those 20
yeah,
years.
08,
Yeah,
08
that's
through
what I'm saying,
10 and
man.
11 were tough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the guy
very
that-
tough.
Hey, the
That
guy
says
that,
everything I need to know about how good you are, man.
the guy
You know?
that put my pool in, he's gone. Yeah,
He's dead or he just
No,
quit?
no, he's out of the business. he was up at the end of Alta.
It's like lenders. Half of them said, "Hey, ain't worth it anymore," and stopped.
He was out at the end of Alta.
That's funny.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. So what's the last pool that you put in right now, and kind of give us an idea? You got anybody that maybe went the processes you go through that you can kind of relate to people out there that go through, getting into a pool?
Yeah, it's a time crunch. I mean, you're excited about this,
Yeah.
I mean, I relate pools and cars on the same kind of magnitude because of the pricing point
rather have
and
a
the
pool,
excitement of them. But when you buy a car, you're in that car, and when we build a pool right now, unfortunately, we have a couple phases that
Yeah.
nothing's happening for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And as much as we tell homeowners, hey, this is going to come because it starts off.
Oh, I
really-
see some of my clients on Instagram that bitch. You're like, oh,
yeah, right.
Pool company told me, then they,
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, well,
because it
walk-
happens really fast.
Yeah, I
Walk
get it,
outside
dude.
every
I get
day,
it.
like
I get it.
The first
like
couple
a kid
phases,
waiting for Christmas.
Exactly right. The first couple phases go really fast. It's like a new house.
Morning
right?
coffee.
You see the sticks go up at the house, and you start getting excited, right? And then it takes another 6 months to finish your pool or your house.
I get it,
So
dude.
there's phases that take some time.
Do you ever get in a position where it's like, hey, here's some money up front, and then all of a sudden the cash is like no longer existing because maybe they're waiting on a check or something, and they're like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, right?
Knock on wood, no.
That does happen though, right?
See, that's why you stay in business for 20 years because
could.
you pick up on
Yeah, it could.
what to do,
you-
who
what
to
do you
do
say,
business
bro?
with.
But at the same point in time, Dan, we don't start a new phase until we get paid.
Yeah.
So we don't get too far
But
out.
I mean, people come
That
in,
was
they
a nice
probably
little
throw
jingle,
80,000.
You
down,
like
right?
that
Like,
hole
hey,
in
here
your
you go.
ground?
No, because it's phases.
Have fun.
Per the Nevada State Contractors Board, I can't take more than $1,000 to get started.
I see.
And what that does is allows me to get my engineering and my permits, and then I can start building.
So you can't take more than 1,000 at the get-go,
at contract, correct?
Why is that? Do you know?
Wait, that brings up a question. Somebody's going to pay 80,000 cash to you out of their bank account. You have no control. Whereas if it's through a lender,
You're right.
They're only going to pay in increments. So
You're absolutely right.
So you take the 80 grand and do you put it in an escrow account to where you can only get so much per
No,
phase?
so like I said, you just get paid as each phase gets done.
So
That's
you've
not
just
in the
been lucky and not getting burned.
Well, I mean, so if I dig your hole and you owe me 20,000
Yeah.
and you don't pay for it, then I'm burned. But
Then
I'm
it-
not going to continue to build your
Yeah,
pool
I
without
understand.
getting that.
So
paid.
have fun with that big hole in your HOA.
Right.
Yeah.
There's other
that happen a lot?
stipulations. No.
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 Well, I mean, I'm sure it does sometimes, but you're pretty good at understanding.
And
Yeah.
in the industry, no, not very
Yeah.
well.
Why? Sorry, I might have answered this question. Why? Are you
20
losing
years.
1,000?
I'm sorry.
You started in 2001, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You're going to ask.
So do you know why? I'm just curious why there's a limit of 1,000 to get going.
That has a lot to do, I
deposit.
think, with the 80s when
they screwed up
When
everything?
everyone was just kind of going, okay, you're going to build my pool
Yeah,
for
it's fun.
30,000, and contractors were saying, well, give me 15,000 now, and I'll collect the rest.
I
at
bet
the
you
end.
making pools was hard in the 80s. You ever heard that song?
What's the transition of
Breaking
pools?
up
I mean, has
hard.
it gotten really like? Is
Never
there a
mind.
big difference in today's pool versus, let's say, an '80s? Obviously, technology gets better, but I mean,
Right, design-wise, design has changes.
Has it?
Absolutely, yeah. With freeform, not freeform pools, excuse me, vanishing edge pools, slot overflow pools. So there's design changes that have changed dramatically.
Yeah.
But overall,
I mean, 80s. It's like ancient history to me.
yeah, I mean everything.
That's why you had the super big pools with diving boards.
I was just gonna say back in the 80s, it
Yeah.
was
Can't have diving boards
10
anymore.
feet deep, 600 square
so
feet.
why did they take away the diving board part?
I'll answer this question.
So there's still
Okay.
diving boards.
You can let me know if I'm right.
Yeah.
Because of, forget what it's called, but very thick clay.
So it's called
Collegiate.
caliche.
Collegiate. yes.
Caliche.
Is that true or?
They didn't get rid of diving boards. You can still do diving boards, but you have to have a diving. It's called a diving board envelope. Okay, so it has to be so many feet at the depth and so wide. Where, as you
Okay,
know,
I can understand-
postage
I can understand that.
Our
That's
postage
fine,
stamp
but-
backyards now just don't allow for that.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still putting in probably 2 or 3 diving boards
Are
a
you
year
high dives or
on
low
bigger
dives?
projects.
High dives or low dives?
really,
Yeah.
Lows.
You never put any high dives?
Dude, if I'm rolling in the ridges, I'm getting a big ass pool at the diving board.
What about the slides?
Straight up.
The slides.
Yeah, what about the slides?
They're starting to make their way back into the market
But
a little
is
bit
there
more.
any
just because-
restrictions on slides?
No restrictions
And
on
these are
slides.
county restrictions we're talking about, right? So it's not like your HOA. Where's these restrictions
Right,
coming from?
right. Even though HOA tries to play a part,
But
yeah,
you could
that's
go
not-
to Pahrump and do whatever you want, probably.
No, they're still gonna have restrictions in
I
Pahrump.
thought that's what Pahrum's for.
Dude, you can start a
industry.
commune in Pahrump.
Wrong industry.
have you ever had a situation where maybe they were not unhappy, but there was some people that were like, yeah, right,
I mean, it's
It does
building.
happen,
It's
right?
building, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have frustrated customers. At the end of the day, I mean, you try to do your best and make them happy at the end of the day.
Is it usually because like they were you kind of can gauge on their character that maybe they may have an issue. You can kind of tell that probably a little bit, rough around the edges type thing. Right?
I'm sure it's just like our business where you just got to set realistic expectations.
Exactly
for
right.
people.
Yeah.
Which is more now than ever.
Yeah.
Setting those
That's
realistic
all you got to do
expectations.
is say, listen,
Do you
here's-
smooth
absolutely
that
right.
over? Does anybody ever be like, hey, you know what? This is not like what I thought it would be, and
Oh,
I want a
absolutely.
discount or I want a break on the cost or something like that.
We run into that sometimes more now than ever also.
Yeah, because the cost, right?
Yeah,
The
right.
cost of the
hey,
home.
bro,
Right.
I didn't go to the
It got-
casino last night. You did.
Right. So the final payment is usually somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 is the final payment, and that's when everything's done and you're
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
with
yeah,
everything.
okay.
It has become a lot harder to collect that $2,000 to
Really?
$5,000.
Really?
Yes. I don't know if they look at it like you're getting paid more than what you're worth, and so I don't even think that you're.
Yeah.
I'm going to give
See,
you this
that's
money.
what I hate about
it's
people.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, you don't tell somebody else what they're worth. If you
Correct.
don't want to pay it,
Well, you
then don't pay it.
Well, you don't go.
Can
You don't go to a steakhouse,
Yeah,
right, and
dude.
say, you know what, that steak wasn't worth
Yeah.
$25.
We're not going to
Just-
talk about what I'm worth after the fact, dude. I know.
It's like,
Have you ever thought about, and I don't know if the regulations would allow it because I have to look at it, but you've thought about just setting up a trust to handle that? If that makes sense?
No,
You could
I haven't.
You could put like a trust, right? This total cost of whatever,
Right.
right? And then you could get past 1,000 or whatever, and you can say, okay, at this phase, put this amount in the trust account or whatever, and then at the very end,
Right.
I won't finish until you have the entire price in the trust. At the conclusion of the project, we're gonna look at
Release.
this, hey,
Yeah.
sign off, we're good, and then it's already there.
Sure.
So if they didn't sign off, then you would have a quick mechanism to say, well, that's BS, right? Tell the trustee
Right.
what to do.
Right. It's a good
And then-
idea.
And then you could.
Will you look into that for me and let me know?
Yeah, that's actually what I do because I heard
That's,
that, and I'm
that's
like,
the same question I asked you. If you had to put it into an account, which is a trust, same thing.
that's a great way to handle those types of things because then it's like, well, and then you don't get screwed at the end because you're right. That's when you're most
you
likely
can still run
to
into
get
issues
screwed.
also though if they run through a financial company because they have to sign for the monies to be released at the end for me also. So you could still run across something even with the financial.
But here's the point: the difference between having a trust and the way you're doing it right now. The guy that's having the pool put in, he's out the money. So it's not like it's not like he can,
and all you would
hold
do,
the money.
like you could hire somebody like me, for instance, right, and that's
Right.
sitting there and then would act as a trustee, right, which means they're neutral, they're not like either
Sure,
side, and
absolutely.
they just say like, hey, this is what it's supposed to be, does it match up?
Right, so-
I'm releasing it, or
right.
whatever.
So we can go to the contractors board also. And
But
that's
why that's why you're getting hold of 2,000, 5,000 because people kind of know that kind of line where
Right.
it's not worth your time to go to the contractors board,
Yeah.
or go
Yep.
to court or go to that, and then that's
Sure.
and they screw you that
Yeah.
way.
So
So.
how-
Yep, because
New question on this same topic. How much do you think it costs just to set up
And
a
loyal-
trust?
yeah.
Couple
It
$100
depends how
bucks?
complicated you want it to be, but
Easy trust.
an easy trust.
Yeah, because I wouldn't think it'd have to be something too.
Oh.
Well, anywhere from 500 to 5,000, depending on what you were doing. Right.
Doesn't matter on
That's
the
a
cost?
one-time fee, though. Right.
One-time fee.
Because what you would need is all the documents
Docs.
explaining
Yeah.
everything
Which is
what's
gonna be
going
so-
on.
So so you could have 10 pools going in that.
Yeah,
same
yeah. I
one
mean,
trust.
setting up a trust is really simple.
Simple,
The point
yeah.
is like if you wanted to do what you're trying to do, make sure you have all the
Very good
documents.
point.
Then you
Very
would
good
just
point.
duplicate it, right? So
Yeah.
you didn't need the new documents every
It's
time
all
you
that
did
stuff.
another project.
Right.
It's like a one-time cost.
let me ask you a question, man. What's the most expensive pool you ever put in?
About
I
380,000.
was about to ask that too.
300, almost 400,000.
wow, where was this at?
Yeah. Up in the Northwest.
Do we have pictures of it on the
Damn, dude,
you bring any
$400,000 pool.
It's actually on my website. It's actually
look at it.
it's got a
Yes.
lazy river
Let's
with
take-
a
let's
slide
take-
and
What?
grotto.
That's what
it's
I'm
that one.
talking
It's
about here.
Yeah, it's that one there. Yeah.
Yo,
look at
go
that.
back to that, man.
Hold on, well,
was
I
that a
gotta-
lazy?
How much?
How
is
much
it-
extra is a lazy river?
How much did that one cost right there?
How about if you just
was
fill
about
it full of
240.
beer? Right.
So these pools that
It's
you
coming up that one there.
this one right here, that's killing it, man.
Damn.
So it's got a full lazy river. It's got a rope swing. That rocket or that,
Oh, that looks
Wow.
that tree's got
I mean,
fire,
both of
so it
the-
looks
I
like it's on
the,
fire at night.
I love the chairs in the pool there.
Let's see
Yeah,
if
the
we
wet
can.
deck area.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
That's a
What
big-
area of town
Okay,
is
so you
that
could
in?
request a
Man,
consultation.
you do good work, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, I I love what I do. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, just looking at that, you have that new car feeling for sure.
Did they hold back?
Just like that idea
Yeah,
with like
exactly.
that in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of the.
I mean, you can get one with a pool, Joe, but
Let's look at some of these pools he's got here.
Ace, did
you
they
got
hold
no
back
extra-
to 5,000?
if you've been
on that?
working hard in life, you
No,
will
they
enjoy
did
it.
not.
Exactly.
They did not.
But
Isn't that funny?
Ace.
It's probably the cheapest pools that want to hold the $5,000 back, and the most expensive ones.
It's always
They-
that
they-
way.
they don't care.
It's always that way.
Yeah.
It's always that way, man.
Always.
So here's your gallery. How much did that cost you, man? Right here, this thing right. Look at that.
Well, that was 8 years ago.
Okay.
Damn,
and
look at
that
the steps
was-
up.
Yeah, that was a fun pool. That was probably about 100,000.
Wow. Look at this stuff.
So
Look-
you can really get some damage done for 100
yeah, I was
grand,
gonna
man,
say,
for a pool.
8 years
Yeah.
ago, though.
Oh, yeah.
You said 8 years
That was
ago.
8 years ago. Yeah, but for
Yeah.
100,000, you can have a very
Okay,
nice.
so 120, 125, you can
Oh, absolutely.
represent, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
This looks like it's at the Aria. Look at this one.
Damn, man.
Look at this. Doesn't
Dude,
it?
I love
And
that.
that actually won
I
some
love it.
national awards. Actually, that one.
Really?
Really?
Yep.
Dude, that
Wow.
makes. Dude, I would never leave my
You never
never leave my house. I mean, I already don't leave my house, but
I told
I
you
move out
guys.
to my backyard now.
Ace is the place.
Yeah, that's awesome. What?
I mean, it's a whole nother area of your yard that you don't
Yeah,
utilize.
yeah.
It really is.
What? Have you ever? What's the biggest celebrity? Have you done any like celebrity pools?
I have not actually.
No.
No.
No Raiders. No nothing.
No, unfortunately not yet. Not so far. I
Did you
I
do
put a
one for
bid.
Drew Brees?
But
no celebrities yet.
I feel
John
like,
Gruden, I bid on John Gruden's pool, but didn't get it. I think that was the builder
John,
Dude,
itself.
did
I
you see
think.
his
That's
house? His house looks like the
did you see
the
Mark?
dark hole.
No, that was
that's-
Mark.
that's
That
the
was Mark
owner.
Davis,
Yeah, that's
that's what you're talking about, right?
no,
No.
John Gruden, the coach.
the
Oh,
coach.
The coach.
Yeah.
Way to be on your sports.
I know.
Told you, man. I'm not into that.
What's the score? What's the score?
Yeah,
0-0.
right,
Who's winning?
Speaking of which, I saw what's his kid's name? Al Davis Jr.
Yes.
at the restaurant last night.
Oh.
He was just mobbing some wine.
Was he?
Nice.
So you guys got anything else to say?
His
to-
lovely haircut.
Do you guys have
He doesn't
anything
look
else
that
to
great.
say to Mr.
Yeah,
Ace
like,
over
dude's-
here about pools or about anything else? Any other questions? Because I think this is a lot of good information. Ace, we'll have you back on too.
Awesome.
But we're also going to talk a
Appreciate you
little bit
having
about we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the housing market. Also, what's going also it. Brett, I know.
Just letting you know, man. I mean,
So let's talk
You have a
about
tendency
you
to-
tell me, dude. What's going on in the housing market? Tell me.
I think it's starting to lighten up a little bit, man. We were kind of talking about this before, which is you're seeing homes that before, 3-4 months ago, anything that hit the market, even if it wasn't worthy of it, was going for full price, was going for multiple offers. And now what you're starting to see is, the homes that are the home of the neighborhood and are worth it are still going for full price and selling right away. But you're on the other ones, you're not seeing multiple offers. And they're starting to sit there 30, 45 days and maybe have to drop it a little bit.
So are you seeing a correction going on? Because I feel
Yes.
like a lot of pockets, a lot of zip
Yeah.
codes. We're starting to see a lot more days on the market.
Let me say this, because I'm saying that I'm starting to see a correction doesn't mean I believe that home prices are going to
Fall.
and
Right.
drop down and all that stuff. So I think home prices are going to stay somewhere around somewhere around where they are right now. But when you take away all the competitiveness, you're not necessarily getting top dollar, and you're still, selling around list price or sitting there for
Maybe waiting a little longer.
Yeah. So what we're doing now is we're starting to fade back into more of a normal market, not a crash, a normal.
Well, but
market.
it's still a correction from where it was at.
Correct.
Because
Yes.
6 months ago, any house that was on the market,
correct
unless
that
it was
correctness.
crazy overpriced, you would have it
Is there
sold.
inventory, Brett? Has
see
that
see
changed at
that's the
all?
thing is
The inventory, yeah.
there is some, but you're not really seeing
Well,
that much. I mean, but
And I
but
don't-
I don't see the demand of buyers either.
And I don't
So-
want to toot my own horn here, but I think I am going to, because I think we have a podcast from like April where I was like, well, it makes sense to me that you had this artificial kind of push down on demand because of the COVID, and then it had to catch up, and you're going to see it kind of spike up to
If you go back to our
late
podcast
summer
2
and
months
then
ago,
it's going to kind of flatten out.
you go back to our podcast 2 months ago, and I was saying that I said, "Here's
People need to pay us a lot of
Slowly,
money, bro.
they
like,
do,
like
yeah.
financial. I'll make a ton. I think.
So what do you
Wolf of
see?
Wall Street type of stuff.
we just need the millions audience."
So are you seeing
Any
multiple
producers
offers?
out there?
Are you seeing multiple offers going on in houses right now, or is it starting to say, you know what, if you put the strong offer in,
Depends. Depends. So if it's like a $500,000 or $600,000 price point and it's got a big yard and it's got a pool and it's in really good shape, then you'll still see a couple multiple offers. But what you won't see are 15, 20 offers. You'll see more like 2 or 3 offers. And going over list price is maybe $5,000 or $10,000. It's not 30, 40, 50.
Are you still seeing
over.
that influx from California?
It's starting to calm down.
Okay.
I think that a lot of people from California who wanted to move here, who had to or felt the urgency, have done that.
Okay.
And there's still buyers moving here from there, but they don't have that sense of urgency.
Because I see the aftermarket of what you see first.
Yeah.
And I still am going on probably 2 or 3 leads a week. People from California that have
Yeah.
moved.
Makes
that
sense
have
because they would
moved
have
here.
closed in April, would
Exactly
have settled
right.
in.
So here's the good news. Here's the good news. So we talked about this yesterday where, you go back and you look at where prices of homes were a lot less, but rates were higher. With rates being so low that they are, and the prices even increasing, it's still lower than what it was previously because rates were higher at that point. And so this is good news for buyers out there because there's more inventory.
Right.
Rates are still low. We still have a lot of opportunity there. And
And it's not a frenzy.
It's not a frenzy. And
Maybe
there's a lot of...
maybe the Fed does know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, so I think we were talking about that meme or that picture I saw where on one half of the house was $350 at 2.4% interest rate, and the other one was a house that's $300,000. So say the market crashes and the housing market goes down 15% in value. That $350 house at 2.5% financing is going to be $150 cheaper than a $300,000 house with a 4.5% interest rate.
Right.
By interest rates being so cheap, you can have the housing market go down 15, 20%. You still have a
be
cheaper
okay.
mortgage payment.
Well, it's got to get
right
to
now.
a point too where it's like, okay, it's just like anybody. You got to hit rock bottom. If you
Yeah,
know, you got to get to
absolutely.
a point where you're like, you know what? It's an analogy. You got to get to a point where you're saying, okay, I'm not going to go buy a house in this market. It's just I'm not going to jump into it. So I think the pullback of buyers has actually helped the housing market because it's now opened up. Not only that, builders are now saying, they're trying to give incentive and things like that.
And
Right?
that's another thing I've seen. I'm starting to get. So builders send us realtors emails all the time.
Correct.
We've got these homes coming on the market. These are still available. We're offering this. I haven't seen until the last 2 weeks. I'm starting to see for the first time in well over a year emails from builders saying we're offering $8,000 in incentives for this. We have these 3 models on the market, and they're still sitting there for 30 days, and we're open to offers. Dude, you didn't see that for the last year.
So I got a question.
That's what we said. We
Yeah.
said that the builders would be the first
Yep.
one.
To feel it.
Just watch what they're doing, and they're an indicator.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they lost a lot of money the first time around, 2007, 8. They're not going to make the same mistake.
Absolutely.
So they're definitely looking at that.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna ask. Do you have Brett, a grasp on what that influx? What was causing that influx in the spring? Was that the strip needed workers? There were companies needed. Like,
I'll say this: last year in the spring when COVID hit, I never thought we would see the demand that we had. I mean, sellers that I had at the time, I was like, dude, between you and me, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, if you're going to list your product. And it wasn't because I wanted them to sell early.
Yeah.
It's because
I don't know what's going to happen.
I guess for some of your buyer clients, was there a theme? Like, were they coming in for a job, a specific job? Like,
just wanted.
So was it
They could all work remote.
remote? That's what I was going to say.
And
the flexibility of working remote.
You had a lot of people.
there you go.
So then there's a segment of California, for example,
Right.
who have been wanting to move here for the longest time.
Northern
but
California,
they couldn't because
right?
their job wouldn't give them a letter, so they couldn't get a loan.
Right.
Now their job's willing to do it.
right, and that's interesting because I wonder how this is going to play out because California. I mean, Newsom did allude to this. Now, when is that recall? By the way, has that happened yet?
Next week or this week coming up.
This week coming up. So we'll see what happens after the recall because he was saying things like getting pissed that people were leaving working remotely. And by the way, we're going to impose the income tax on
right.
you,
Which is
That's
like,
not going to help you get elected.
yeah. I think that's why we haven't heard too much about that. But
Sure.
because that affects Vegas, right?
Yeah.
These types
Well,
of things that
absolutely,
California
100%.
does.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, so
Anyhow.
you're also looking at, we talked about this and we'll kind of wrap this up. I think it's a good time for buyers again. I do think that there's competition, though, where you got a lot of big investors, hedge fund investors, also trying to buy up a lot of these properties because they want to control the asset. And I think a lot of agents out there, they want to get listings. And I think that's kind of the next thing we're looking at is agents are trying to go after the properties. Yes, the buyers are still there, but if you control the asset, then you can control the outcome. Right, Brett?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go over here. We're going to talk real quick on the rental sector. I want to give a quick update. Also, what's happening as property management here with Mr. Rick Rains. Rick, what's going on over there, buddy?
Compared to last week, compared to the last 4 weeks, it's pretty much steady. I agree with Brett in that things are loosening up. As I said, I had one property on the market for 3 days, and now I've got a couple more that have been on there for, again, 2 or 3 days. And just looking at the stats that I pulled on rentals over the past 4 weeks, again, we've gone up about a little over 12%. And again, we're expanding on the sales end of it, again, for a month, about 5%. So that expansion is helping to slow things down.
So the rental market's getting more accessible to
yes, to everybody. But and to piggyback off what Brett said, in the lower segment of the market as far as sales go, there's still a feeding frenzy. The last one that we sold last week was listed about 8% over the previous. And we got an all-cash offer that was 8% over that. So,
wow!
But again, it was only it was a little small condo at 110,000, and they came in at 119 cash.
So it's calming down. I mean,
Yeah,
you're still feeling it.
On the smaller end, there's still the feeding frenzy because that's where people
can get into.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
There was also something you wanted to discuss, a topic, right? That you had something going on. Is that right? Or
I was just going to give you a follow-up on the previous podcast we had on the counterintuitive.
Yes.
And I told you guys about this investor who got this large house with all this furniture and stuff, and stuck with it. We couldn't rent it. Well, guess what? Last week he decided that he needed to get the furniture out of there. He needed to drop the price. Well, getting the furniture out of there is actually costing him just under $5,000 to get all the furniture out. And for whatever reason, I don't know, but he isn't selling it. He's putting it in some sort of high-end pod or something, and that's running him $1,200 a month. So, you stop and think about it. It's going to cost him a lot of money for having not discussed, I didn't say have to go through, but not discussed buying with a property manager prior to doing it. I mean, he's ended up short end of the stick.
Are rents are they in check similar to what the housing market's going through, where the rents are starting to get to that point?
Rents aren't coming down.
Okay.
They're not coming down.
Anything else?
That's about it. Status quo.
Guys, you got anything else? We're going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys all for coming in. If you guys haven't hit the like button, hit the like button on this. We need likes. We need subscribers. Please support the channel. We'll be back here on Tuesday. And if you guys have any comments, put it in the comment section. We'll be gladly to answer those on the next show. And we'll see you guys next week on Tuesday.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for coming
Thanks for coming on,
man.
man.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Enjoy it. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you again. We'll have him come back on again.
Cool. Yeah.
Good.
All right, guys. You guys have a good rest of your day.
Bye,
We'll
Bitcoin.
see you guys
Stay
later.
strong.
Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.